Talks. Oh, thank you, Swati, for turning on the recorder. This is our November Lightning Talks. The theme this month is tribal topics. So we're excited to have, we have 2 presentations this time. We were going to have 3. One, unfortunately, cannot make it. Had an issue come up at the last minute. But we're very excited for you all to join us this month. See if I can remember how to switch this. Okay. Special shout out to our sponsors. So this is brought to you by Women in GIS. And as you know, the Lightning Talks, or maybe you don't know, these Lightning Talks are open to anybody. You don't need to be a member. You don't need to be of any specific gender. They're open for anyone to attend and anyone to present. So we're real thrilled to have our presenters here today. And these are our sponsors, our platinum sponsors for Women in GIS, with whom our sponsors really help to allow us to do such programs such as this. So Esri, Bad Elf, and Embedded Alliance are our platinum sponsors, but we do have a whole host of sponsors. These are the rest of our sponsors for Women in GIS. And just give them a little bit of recognition here. And today's presenters. So I'm super excited to see these 2 presentations because this is a great topic. And this is, I believe November is also, at least in the US, it's Native American Heritage Month, I believe it's called. Maybe I have the phrasing wrong, but I believe that's what it is. So this is right on topic here, starting out for November. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first presenter. Dr. Mukta Girdhar has more than 24 years of experience in imparting education in the field of disaster management and GIS. Currently, she is a senior consultant with Delhi Disaster Management Authority. She has a doctorate in earth sciences, specializing in geochemistry from the University of Delhi. And recently, she was awarded with Women Empowerment Leadership Award in Disaster Management. Congratulations. She's also an honorary advisor at Disaster Resilient and Research Foundation in India. And she has worked as assistant professor in the Center for Excellence in Disaster Management Studies, or CDMS, at GGS Indraprasthasi. Sorry if I mispronounced that, at the university, and faculty with the Indian Red Cross Society. She's also a visiting faculty for disaster management and GIS remote sensing with various institutes across India. So today she's going to be presenting on increasing livelihood of tribes by geospatial technology. And I am going to stop my share and turn it over to you, Dr. Girdhar.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Just a moment. Jamie, you need to make her co-host. She'll not be able to share her presentation.
Yeah, no, I'll be able to. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yes, it is working. Yeah.
Thanks,
so
Swati.
thank you so much for inviting me on this WGIS program for the enlightening talk. And as you know, that my topic is increasing the livelihood of tribes by geospatial technology. As you know that I belong to India, so this is just a concept note. This is the idea which, or you can say the proposal which I have submitted to Department of Science and Technology to consider this project. And I'm 100% sure that if it will be through by the TST, it will be a great benefit to our nation, and it will be a role model for all over the country, and especially for the tribes people and tribal area. So I think I have to just, it is, yeah. So as per the census, the total population of India is 1.21 billion. And out of which 104.28 million, that is a people who are tribes. And basically these tribes, they are located in 4 states, that is Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Gujarat, and Rajasthan. These are the name of the states. And we have here about 9 to 11 union territories and 32 states. And out of which these 4 or 5 states where mostly tribes people, they are residing. So Indian government, they want to promote these people. They want to provide the basic facility to these people, but somehow these schemes that is not reach to these people. So I think the whole project is based on this issue. If we use the geospatial technology, so I think we can, people can access these information as a user-friendly manner. People can monitor various assets and schemes under several tribes' welfare programs. These are the objective of my proposal. Achieving inclusive growth in tribal areas, adopting spatial planning approach, considering the locally available infrastructure and natural resources, ongoing tribal welfare schemes, and monitoring of tribal assets and upcoming social infrastructure. So once we will acquire all the information, then I think we'll come to know which area need to focus more. Dissemination of the spatial information on tribal welfare schemes, tribal assets, and social infrastructure in tribal areas through web-enabled GIS system and information kiosks. So idea is once we'll get all the information, we will put the kiosk in every village. So villagers, they will come and they can collect the information, and they can collect what are the schemes are there, how they can use their scheme, and how they can increase their livelihood. It can help to better governance with the help of scientific decision, support information in visual interface, transparency in welfare scheme implementation, project allocation and utilization of funds. So normally whatever the scheme comes, who are the takers and what are the executions, what level it has been executed, and what is the implementation part. So people are not aware. It has been done, it has been executed, but the community, the local, the ground level people, they are most of the time they are unaware. So if it will be implemented, we can have the gap analysis and removal of geographic disparity. So we can work on the particular area where the gaps is there and how we can remove those gaps. Objective of this idea is to empowerment the tribes. And most of the tribal area, they are full of the natural resource management. So once we are aware, we can give them the local employment, we can generate the capacity building, we can institutional capacity building can also be done, and that can be a better citizen service, and they can be a better, you can say, their lifestyle should be better. So what will be the innovativeness? Visualization of completed ongoing tribal welfare schemes and assets with their location, purpose, status, and other information. Maintenance of inventory of assets. For example, if there is a village, what are the infrastructure is there, what are the natural resources, how the communities are there, what is the strength there, and based on these information we can analyze, we can visualize how we can use this scheme, how we can better utilize the community. Enable periodic assessment and summarize results in form of geographic indicators. Transparency in allotment of land to tribal and assets creation for the tribals. Maintenance of public assets. We even with the help of geospatial technology, we can maintain what are the public assets are there. We can monitor and evaluate of tribal welfare scheme, whether it is really implementing or it is only on the paper. Assessment of effectiveness of tribal welfare scheme, such as implementation of FRA, rationalization of investment. So what will be the workflow if we will implement and this project will be sanctioned? So what will be the workflow? First, we will collect the Survey of India map. Then that will be a creation of base map. After that, will put it there, land use and land cover based on the latest technology, whatever is available, maybe a carto set 12.5 meter, a resource set 5.8 meter imageries. Then we extract the information of administrative boundaries, which is in India, it is already available. We have to just impose these boundaries. Then collection and mapping of information on ongoing and completed tribal welfare schemes. So every year, there are so many government departments, they are announcing different schemes, different projects, different CSRs. So it is not integrated. If we integrate, you government and along with all the researchers, industrialists, NGOs, they will come to know that in particular area or in particular district, particular state, these things are, these schemes are running. And that is how we can provide a benefit to the community. Community can also be empowered through the information, because the information is not integrated. It is really very difficult for us, because I feel that we are um, literate people, we are aware people, we know what is happening. But if you consider tribes, they are not aware. They are fully busy in their fulfilling their basic lives. Somehow, this technology that can be go to a village level, it should be so user friendly, just like a phone, that on the kiosk, they should get the information, they should extract the information. These are the technology which they can utilize for themselves to empowerment. Administrative, then a collection and mapping of information on ongoing, that's done. Mapping of existing social infrastructure on education and healthcare. I believe that it's very, very important. But most of the tribal area, I was just researching and I came to know that most of the area, their basic facility of education and healthcare is not up to the mark. It is there, but not up to the mark. So what are the facilities are there and what not is there? We can analyze gap arrangement through this technology. We can visualize and we can take a better decision with the help of this technology. We can also integrate various water resource projects. We can develop tribal development indicators for various scheme projects, assets and infrastructure. Based on those information, it should be a tribal asset information system. This is the name of whatever the in GIS we will be generate. This name is tribal asset information system, and which can be viewed by the beneficiary, by the people, by the public, and by the tribal resource planner. Installation and commissioning of the GIS-based tribal assets information system through strategically located public information kiosk up to the panchayat level. So it is the smallest form of a district. If it is implemented, yeah, it is erected there, I think information of projects, yeah, information of mm, availability, fund, resources, everything is easily approachable by the community and easily accessible by the local villagers. Local capacity building for data creation and utilization, that is again a very important factors, because without data, things will not be work out. So what will be the outcome? Visualization of completed outgoing tribal welfare scheme, because it will be integrated, and their locations, purpose, status, and other information. So everything on is available in a single platform. Maintenance of up-to-date inventories of assets, enable periodic assessment and summarize result in form of geographic indicators. So we can monitor each and authorities can monitor each and every stage of the project. Maintenance of public assets, monitoring and evaluation of tribal welfare scheme, assessment of effectiveness of tribal welfare scheme, such as implementation of FR. So that is all about, that is how, that is all about my project. And I think this will really support and help to create the livelihood of tribes and to empower these tribe peoples. They can better use their resources and they can be more financially strong, and they can really secure their future. So that is all about my idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Girdhar? See some applause.
I actually do have a question. How given some of the energy demands that India's had in the past years, how are you going to account for these kiosks being located in rural places that may or may not have that intermittent access?
About the kiosk? See that again, I have told you that we will generate different parameters, and based on the parameters, we will decide where we have to display the kiosk. And whatever the planning is, key, first we will train the community how to use this kiosk, what is the information is available there, and we appoint a person who will be there, and that person will give them information whatever they need and how they can use those schemes and how they can implement those schemes, and that is how the community will be helpful. If possible, they can themselves access those information.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it is just recent. It is just idea. It is not implemented yet, but yes, we have submitted this project.
Do you have a timeline for when this will be implemented, or you're still gathering the funds and all that?
There is no timeline. First, it will be awarded, then there is a timeline. So normally the timeline is 3 years. Once it is awarded, after that.
That's great. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else have
Here,
any
I
other
would
questions?
just like to add what Dr. Mukta has said, that the projects what we do in India is, generally with the government of India, we get the fundings. The major funding comes through the government of India, Department of Science and Technology, and they have a little time period of evaluation and selection committee. So once that comes through, and then the implementation goes very fast, like within 2 years or 3 years. It is up to us how quickly we can implement the project. And what the project she has proposed over here, it is one of the best. Like, this is something which is coming up. There is not much work done on it, especially using the geospatial technologies. So they even Susan asked about the kiosks thing. Kiosk is something which have been like used at the town level in India at some places, but at the reaching out to the tribal is a very, very remote areas in India. And the 4 states she mentioned is very, very rich in tribes, but they are very remotely placed. Sometimes access to the tribes is also very difficult. So we really need to take help of the administration to reach out there to support with the latest facilities what the government is providing, all the schemes, because most of them are not even aware of it. So definitely she has put that point of capacity building to the panchayat level. Panchayat is the village administration level, which we call in India. So that's the point I just wanted to add. Thank you.
Yeah, so there is one more question on the chat box, that will the kiosk have interactive screen for the public to use? The answer is yes. The idea is to give them an interactive screen.
Wonderful. That's exciting. Thank you for that wonderful talk, that wonderful presentation, and good luck. I assume you're going to get this awarded because this seems like a really amazing project. So once you get it rolling, you need to come back and tell us about the rollout
Sure.
of it.
Sure.
So that would be wonderful. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. So we'll go on to our next presentation. And our next one is Susan. I have to put your names up here on our screen real quick, I think. Am I sharing the right screen? Yeah, okay. All right, so next up we have Susan Bachor.
Bachor, yep.
Bachor. Susan Bachor, Heather Wholey, pronounce it correctly, and Joanna Maurer. Hopefully I didn't do that. And they're going to talk about supporting tribal nations with GIS. I'm going to give you a little bit of info on these three presenters also, real quick. Susan Bachor, right, is an archaeologist and historic preservationist with the Delaware Tribe of Indians, and adjunct professor at Westchester University, correct? A master's degree in anthropology and archaeology from Temple University. And Heather Wholey is actually Dr. Heather Wholey. She has a PhD in anthropology from the Catholic University of America and is a professor at Westchester University. And third, we have Joanna Maurer, apologies if I mispronounced that, who is a GIS research assistant at Westchester University. That's in Pennsylvania, for those of you who do not know. And she has dual bachelor's degrees in anthropology and with the GIS concentration. So they're going to be presenting on supporting tribal nations with GIS. So I'm going to turn that over to you all. You should have sharing ability.
Great. I don't know. Do you want me to share mine just automatically, Heather, or?
Are we on the
It doesn't-
same?
Well, I can probably, let me just do that. I'll just share it. There we go.
Okay.
Can everybody see that?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Just
so
go
mine,
for it.
you don't have to share mine yet. You can leave mine out unless you
Okay.
need it.
No, I was just going to have it as
Okay.
background, you know,
Ah.
just there's something for everybody to look at. As everybody says, thank you, Jamie. As you have said, my name is Susan Bachor. I am the Historic Preservation Officer for the Delaware Tribe of Indians. I've been working with them for about 10 years, but I was born and raised here on the East Coast. What we're here to talk to you about today is the collaboration between the Delaware Tribe and Westchester University, and how important it is for tribal nations to get this support, and it helps build capacity. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Collaboration such as this expands my department's ability to preserve and protect our cultural resources. The Delaware Tribe is a nation that's living in diaspora. We have been removed from our tribal lands for over 300 years. So GIS really gives us the ability to visualize, not just have that knowledge, but also visualize our materials and our cultural resources that were left behind. Another benefit of this collaboration between the university and the tribe is that not only are we protecting our resources, but we're also helping to train the future historic preservation specialists in tribal relations, having sensitivity to tribal needs, and looking to us as people that are still here, not as relics of the past. And I will pass it now off to, I believe, Joanna.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Joanna. I already got introduced as the GIS research assistant at Westchester University, but my role in this project is I'm serving as a proxy GIS project manager in the absence of a project manager, because like Susan had mentioned, there's a lot of capacity and training issues related to GIS work, especially in a tribal context. So from Westchester University, I'm helping fill that capacity and also train students in this GIS work. So right now I'm managing a team of students to develop and maintain tribal geodatabases for the Delaware Tribe of Indians, organize their files and data, and also create layers, maps, models, and GIS products, for example, like story maps, dashboards, and applications for the Delaware Tribe Historic Preservation Office. And the benefit of that is they can use that for their cultural resource management, planning, mitigation, and decision-making. And it benefits and empowers the tribes to be able to take the data and actually make decisions for themselves instead of other people making decisions for them. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Wholey.
Susan, can you hit the full screen? Yeah, just keep going down next to the slider. The
Down
bottom
on the
right.
bottom right. Yeah, down on the bottom right of your screen to the left of the little slider at the very bottom of your screen.
The problem is my bar is in the way of the.
Oh, I think if you go to slideshow on your menu, you could probably say start
There we
slideshow.
go. Can you see it?
Well, we're actually seeing the presenter view now. We have the wrong.
Yeah.
So if you go up to the top where it says display settings to the left, yeah, do that drop down and then swap the very top one. There you go. Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Got it. Okay, so I'm the third person on this team. I'm Heather Wholey. I'm a professor of anthropology at Westchester University, which is in the southeast corner of Pennsylvania. I'm also an archaeologist, and I'm going to give a couple of case studies of what's grown out of this collaboration between the Delaware Tribe of Indians and Westchester University, both departments of anthropology, which I'm a part of, and geography, which Joanna is a part of. Both of these projects are ones that Joanna was lead on in terms of implementing the work that we wanted to do between all three of us to benefit the tribes in terms of and providing the sort of resources that they were looking for to help them in their historic preservation actions. This first one here is the first project I'm going to talk about. It's the project on Lenapehoking, which are the ancestral homelands of Lenape, including the Delaware Tribe of Indians, who are now in their diaspora located in Oklahoma, so in the Midwestern part of the country. There are a series of these signs that have these. This is part of a sign. So you can think about it as this like park signage. Like you go through a park and you're walking on a trail and you see signs that you can stop by outdoors and you can read and look at. There is, because of the removal process, gone for 300 years, as Susan said, there's a tremendous amount of confusion and lack of knowledge in terms of who are the indigenous peoples of this area, and are there even still any left? And so part of this signage project is to bring attention to who the descendant communities are through visual mapping, but also to bring some of their culture alive. So if you look at this sign here, you'll see that the purple, all of the terms in purple are Lenape, in Lenape language. So we worked not only with Susan's office, which is the Tribal Preservation Office, but the Cultural Education Office to make sure that we were using appropriate terms, they were correctly spelled, that the pronunciation is correct, and so forth. Can you still hear me? Okay. And you'll see that there are these QR codes. There's a panel off to the right, which is not shown on this slide, but each of these words in purple has a QR code associated with it. So people who are walking through the nature preserve on our campus can scan these QR codes and they can hear a Lenape person speaking these words, you know, in their own language today. The maps over to the left of the panel here are graphics that that show first in the inset Lenapehoking. So Lenapehoking, as you can see on the panel, are the ancestral homelands of the Lenape. Joanna produced this map by coordinating with Susan to determine what are the ancestral homelands. I believe in Susan, Joanna can correct me when I'm done if this is incorrect, but I think that they used basically county and river basins to determine the outline of Lenapehoking, and you can see the red dot shows us there. It really gives people who are visitors to the park or the nature preserve an idea of the expanse of Lenapehoking. And then the larger map here is the the preserve itself, and then the trails that walk through the preserve, and the red dot then shows the where the position of this particular sign is along the pathway there. There are several of these along these trails and pathways. We worked with the Delaware tribe and Joanna to get some of the terms in the legend for this map here. So the Lenape word for stream, I have some more things in the way of my screen here, so I don't know what that says below it, but oh, it's the trails. Okay, so we used Lenape terms all throughout, and it was really critical to us that this feature the Lenape language in the forefront, which is why they're first, and the English language is in parentheses here. So we wanted to make sure that carried through all the way into the map there. And this is really a graphic. We converted it into a graphic to make it sort of simple and really user-friendly and eye-catching. We can go to the next one, Susan. Okay. This is a separate project. This one also involves Joanna as a key part. So you can see that here on this inset map up here, we're, the east coast of the United States, and that red circle there shows the second largest estuary on the east coast of the United States. This is the Delaware Bay. As an archaeologist, there are two things that are part of this project: cultural heritage and climate change catastrophes or climate change impacts. We know, people who live along the coast, that some of the impacts from climate change involve rapid sea level rise, increased storm surges, flooding, etc. As the previous discussant mentioned, there are a lot of concerns about how this impacts communities. But one of the angles that we're taking with this project is, how does it impact people's history and cultural heritage? And it's one thing that gets greatly overlooked in sort of disaster modeling, is what are people losing but with their heritage when we have things of, just for example, sea level rise, or massive storm surges and so forth. So these are another series of maps that Joanna produced, and we can see that we have in the left side here, all of these little white dots are known cultural heritage sites. They've been documented with the state offices, so they're known, they're documented. And then Joanna went ahead and converted this into sort of a heat map to show us visually sort of the hot spots of where these heritage sites are. On the right side is complicated. We worked with Joanna intimately on this for quite some time. This is a sea level rise model that's generated from probabilistic models. So probabilistic models are very localized sea level rise projections that are tied into all of the local tide gauges, and they project into the future. We project sea level rise for this section of the Delaware Bay. So we see they have the Delaware Bay on the left. On the right, we have the section that is on the east side of the bay, where that big orange splotch is. That's what's blown up on the right. And so we have this modeled at the decade level, all the way up to 2100, in terms of the impacts to these cultural heritage sites. A majority of these cultural heritage sites are indigenous, about 3/4. So these are indigenous heritage sites that are at threat due to the impacts of climate change and sea level rise. It's really important for us to share this out with the tribe so that they can make decisions about what do they want to do in the face of losses of this cultural heritage resources. What is their approach? What are their priorities? How do they want to prioritize? So this is really a model that is for the tribes to use as a decision-making tool. Something that was very surprising that came out of this modeling exercise here. If you look at this river that comes up from the bay, okay, follow that river up, it's called the Morris River. Impacts are greater in many cases, 10 kilometers upstream than they are along the coast. So in thinking about things like sea level rise and the impacts, people who are worried about cultural heritage and tribes that are worried about losses to their cultural heritage are really going to have to expand the bubble that they're looking at least 10 kilometers upstream and not stay focused on that coastal area right there. So this was a real eye opener in terms of the outcomes of the project that we were working on. This is actually part of a larger project that I'm working on. I'm part of a committee that's called the Committee for Climate Change Strategies for Archaeological Resources through the Society for American Archaeology. And we're collaborating with other partners and other professional organizations, such as the European Archaeological Association, to form a standing committee for the World Archaeological Conference on climate change and cultural heritage. So I'd like to put it out there, in particular, Dr. Girdhar, if you know of any professionals who are cultural heritage professionals, but are also interested in the impacts of disasters, such as through climate change, that we'd love to hear from them and see if they'd like to be in on the ground level of the formation of this World Archaeological Committee, where we're addressing these issues about losses of heritage from a global perspective, but also from one that includes the voices of people who are working with Indigenous communities or who are our Indigenous partners. And that's it. Thank you. We can stop sharing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Do we have questions for our either one of these three? Does anybody have any questions? Comments about this amazing work? I love that you're doing this global, you're looking for global participation and global information on this work that you're doing. So that's pretty cool. No questions? You guys have any last minute any other comments that you want to share with the group regarding your work? Or any of our presenters today? I do want to ask a GIS question for Joanna, I guess it is. So the sea level rise modeling, that's really interesting. You know, it looks like such a simple map, but I'm sure that was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. Yeah, it took to get the sea level rise map from pro up and running onto online probably took 2 years, mostly because of how big the data set is. So we had to work out a lot of like GIS kinks and a lot of ArcGIS Pro crashes, just constant crashing. But you know, that was just part of the process. It worked a little bit better once we actually made it like a workflow model within Pro for it to just spit out the result rather than trying to do it more manually. So we had to take time to make that model before actually being able to run it, and then getting it to run took a few tries. But once we did, we were really, really happy with the result.
Awesome. So the cultural heritage sites. So that information you're showing on a map as points, I said at that scale, we can't identify specifically where they are. So I assume that's data is not necessarily publicly available because you don't want people going into those and messing with those, correct?
Yep, the versions
Correct.
that
And that's
I can expand on that a little. The version that Heather showed on the presentation is our personal professional version to like make decisions about our research. But the one that is publicly available on the public published story map and the dashboard, those do not include the point layer. It is only the heat map. So the point layer is not even in there for them to turn on or look at, and it's not in the pop-ups or anything either. So that was kind of why we did a heat map, but we wanted to show one on top of the other for purposes of this presentation.
And in the chat, we have from Carly, these topics. Well, I'm sorry, no, wonderful, love the maps. Did you create a map also that shows the displacement of the people with lines, etc.? We are going to work on that. That's one of the projects, but it's all in a process. So we will, that is one of the process. We already have our diaspora trail, so we know where we've been, and we were removed about 8 times. So we will be building that map, and we call it the map of broken treaties, basically. And we'll be highlighting all the treaties that were written and then broken and us moved along the way to our current location in Oklahoma. But that's down the road.
I had something else in here I wanted to share. I'm looking for it in the chat. So Robin, who she was here earlier and she had to leave early, so but she sent me a little note during the presentation. I wanted to get back to this because this addresses all the presenters today. She's very excited that she was able to come. She was sorry she had to leave earlier, but this is the first time she's come to one of these talks, and she is newly getting her PhD in geographical sciences at the University of Maryland. And what she loved about these presentations today was that it gave her some very good info to move forward with her own research and on presentations and getting grants and applications. So for work that she's doing in the future. So really appreciate you guys, all of you presenters today for sharing your work, for sharing what you're doing, because you're inspiring everyone. This is a great inspirational work that you all are doing. I really appreciate it.
In the chat also, I'm sorry, Andrea asked, do you also have a public map? Or do you have a link to that?
We don't
And I'm
have the
assuming-
link yet, right? We have a couple of minor tweaks, but it's about ready to go public.
And then Heather, there's another question from Swati to you. For what duration did they map these tribes from cultural heritage sites? I'm not quite sure. Do you mean the sites through time?
Yeah. I think I'm
So
able to unmute myself now. Yeah, my question is like, how long, for what duration, in the sense, for how many years this migration must have happened from the cultural heritage sites of these tribes? Did you map all that as well? So because
So those archaeological sites and those other cultural heritage resources that are, all kinds of different things that are mapped, represent everything that is in a centralized database that's managed by these various state agencies. They include everything. So they go back 10,000 years
okay.
or so. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then to be honest with you, they were the ones that were closer to our contact period with colonization. They were all abandoned sort of around the same period. So it wasn't like a progression. I mean, theoretically, there was a progression as we got pushed from the coast in, but recordation of that didn't really happen until the mid 1770s, I guess, when we really started to be pushed beyond our measure. So most of these sites were left in by the 1700s.
Okay.
And anything that's earlier than, say, 8, maybe as far back as 10,000, it's already underwater. Those sites are already submerged. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Good discussion. Great discussions. All right. Okay, well, if we don't have anything else, just real quickly, let me put up my little splash screen here for you guys to see everything, what we've got coming up. Just one last screen, I promise. Thank you for coming, especially again, how many times I can say thank you to our presenters. This is wonderful. We did record this, so the recording will be available on the YouTube channel. I'm going to put that and some other links in the chat here. So you'll be able to see it on our YouTube channel next month for December 1st at noon Pacific. The topic is public health. You're all welcome to come and attend. You're also welcome to present if you like, or if you know somebody who is in that field and has a good project to share, some good resources, information to share, have them sign up to give a presentation. The second link that I have in the chat there is the one to go directly to the Lightning Talks event page. And then I think that's the one that goes there. And then the third one is more about becoming a member of Women in GIS. If you're not already a member, we have different activities that go on for members only. One of our most popular is Wednesday afternoons. Members can join a communities of practice Zoom meetups with 4 different industry topics. One week, it's a different each week. One's public sector, one's non-natural resources, infrastructure, and then the private sector. And each one of those, they're informal, casual gatherings, networking events with people that are interested in that topic. You can go to one or all if you're a member, and they're very popular. And the last one I think is just the events calendar. I can't remember what that link was, but anyway, go to our website and you can see all that. If anybody has anything else you'd want to share, I guess I may be giving you a few more minutes of your time back. Unless Swati is our chair of the Professional Development Committee, if you want to say any last words.
Yeah, I would just like to invite all the women to please come on this platform and share your work in different fields. We keep bringing out different interesting topics. We'll be soon sharing the calendar for the lightning talks for the next year. And we would love to have you all on this platform. Please share your wonderful research works and enlighten us also how you have been using the technology in different fields. And that would be really interesting. And we're most welcome to join our teams, join the network. It's a wonderful network. And we are now diversifying at the global level also. We are just moving out of United States. By being from India, so we being a part of this team, I really enjoy being here. So I invite all of you also to please join our network. It is it's very diversified network, interesting, a lot of things, a lot of platform to learn and to share both, and to network. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, everybody. Positive
Thank
Good
you.
day.
I put my contact in the chat in case there's any, especially if there's any takers on the World Archaeological Congress, follow up.
So.
You accidentally sent it just to me.
Oh, sorry.
I posted it.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye.
rest of
Thank
your
you.
day.